Hi, everybody, and welcome to Friendlies, brought to you by the Women's Game. I'm Sam Mewis, and I am so happy to be bringing you this interview with Alex Greenwood today. I interviewed Alex when I was in Manchester a few weeks ago, and it was really fun to sit down with an old friend who I really hadn't caught up with in a while. I loved being Alex's teammate when I was at Man City, so it was really fun for us to relive our FA Cup win together. We talked about Alex's legacy on English football, and then we got to play a little game with her about the slang, where she's from in Liverpool. It comes at the end of the episode, so don't go anywhere. You're gonna want to hear this one. It's pretty funny. Without further ado, let's get into this interview. Here is my conversation with Alex Greenwood. Today on the podcast, we have Alex Greenwood. Alex is a defender for the Lionesses and for Manchester City. She has 90 caps for England as we were recording this, and she has an amazing left foot, one of the best in the women's game. Alex is a Euros winner from the 2022 championship with England and is a World Cup finalist from 2023. I am such a huge fan of Alex. She's positionally so smart in her defending, incredible tackler, passing range and vision rivals anybody's on the field, and your set piece ability is so good. You have so many tools and you just live and breathe the game in a way that I found to be really inspiring when I was here playing with you at Man City. Alex is a great teammate. You're always checking in on everybody. You lead by example and you hold the standard really high. And you're always doing everything that you can to be the best player that you can be. So I am thrilled to be here in Manchester with you in person. Alex, welcome to the show.
Oh, Sam, cool. We ended it. That was so cute. Sam, what a pleasure.
I know.
Lovely to see you.
I'm so excited to chat. It's so great to see you. You were one of the first people to welcome me here when I arrived in 2020. And you were new to the club as well, having come from Lyon around the same time that I arrived. And we shared a socially distanced COVID locker room with Lucy Bronze and Rose Lavelle. Do you remember?
I do. The far one.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Can you describe it and like what the experience was like for everybody?
Oh, God, that was awful, wasn't it, Sam?
So funny.
Do you know what though? Come to think of it now, like that feels like such a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually almost wish that wasn't the case when you arrived, because we probably didn't get to have as much fun as we'd have liked in terms of like social stuff. We were very social people, weren't we, in a social team, and we still had some good times for sure, like some good memories. I've got loads of boss memories with you.
And we would still go to coffee a lot after training. We'd go and have a little coffee club, which was cute. I was initially a little bit intimidated coming here. I didn't really understand the dynamics yet, but you were so welcoming and it made me feel a little bit more comfortable. What do you remember about when Rose and I showed up here? Like, were we what you expected the Americans would be like?
Yeah, somewhat. I think, to be honest with you, that's crazy that you felt like that, because we probably expect, when the Americans come, you're so like out there, you know what I mean? Like you just express yourselves amazing and do what you come with, World Cup finalists, World Cup winners. If anything, I probably felt more intimidated and a little bit like, we've got two Americans coming in who are class, known by everyone. And to be honest, I was so excited to meet you both because I took so much from both of you. You know, I think one of the biggest things for me with you and Rose is your mentality towards things. It was just something I've never experienced. And I had just come from Lyon in a team where winning was at all costs. But with you, it was different. Even like your positivity in training, whether it was going good or not, you were always so positive. And I think I took a lot from you two in that and tried to take that into my game a little bit. Even when you left and stuff, I tried to keep that to something I always held myself to.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm like going to tear up again about this. I do have to admit that when I first got here, I did have a little bit of trouble understanding your Scouse accent. We're going to get to that at the end. We're going to play a little game about some Scouse phrases. It's going to be very fun.
You understand me now, though?
I think so, but we have some Scouse phrases in here that I'm like, I have no idea what these mean.
Okay.
But we're going to get to that. That's at the end of the episode. So we have a mostly American audience. So I want to talk a little bit about the dynamics of English football. Like pretty much, you support your local team, the team you grew up with all of the passion that you have, win or lose, relegation or promotion, you stick with your club. But as a player, you obviously have different priorities and you can't necessarily just play for your hometown club your whole life if that isn't what's best for your career. You were born in Liverpool, and I know you grew up supporting the red half of Liverpool, but you joined Everton, Liverpool's regional rival, at age 6 and came up through their academy program. So as a childhood Liverpool fan, growing up in a Liverpool supporting household, how did that go when you started playing for Everton as just a 6-year-old kid?
Do you know what? It's the same in your family. It's pretty much like split down the middle and divided. So
it is?
Yeah, it's exactly. So like one half of my family's blue, one half of my family's red. So one half cheers for me, one half doesn't when I was growing up. But pretty easy. I think when you're young, they obviously support any decision you make, and it was probably the right decision to go to Everton at the time. They were probably more established as a club. I have so much to thank Everton for. They brought me up as not just a player, but probably a person as well. And the personality that you see I've got was definitely down to Everton Football Club. And by no means I didn't end up supporting them because my dad wouldn't have allowed me to. But I still have so many people there that I care about and talk to, and so much respect for the football club itself. And they're going through obviously a difficult time, the men's team at the moment. And as much as Liverpool fans are happy about that, I mean, I have a lot to thank them for. So I find that a little bit more difficult to see, you know what I mean? So for sure, like you said, when you grow up in a city in England, you support that team till the end. But for me, playing football and playing for teams, it probably strokes across the emotion a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know you've been a part of several clubs where there are distinct rivalries, and I know that's been really difficult at times. So I'm curious what it feels like for you now when you play against Liverpool as a professional. Like, is there something extra special? Or even when you play against Everton, your first club, like, is there something really special in getting to do that now as a professional player?
Yeah, I think Liverpool's the bit when obviously You Never Walk Alone's on, the anthem. I think when I walk out, and I have a moment obviously with it because I grew up going to the games, and that's still my club. It's still the club I support, and probably that moment when that comes on. But when the game starts, obviously it's completely forgotten about, and you cross the white line and it's professional head on, and you get to business. But more when I go to Everton, it's the people. I grew up with a lot of the people and the staff, and I actually went back there not long ago for a personal reason, and I walked in and I was like, oh, hello. And, staff who work there in the kitchen are still there, and it's such a family club. It always has been, it always will be. And that's, I mean, I make myself feel oldie, but that's like over 10 years ago. That's still some of the same people are there. So it is an incredible place. But going back to what you said, I think it's just a bit of emotion as the game begins. And then after that, it's to bed.
Do you remember an early football memory that just like made you fall in love with the game? What do you think about when you think about why you love football? Is there something that happened when you were young?
Oh, that's a really, I think I absolutely idolised Steven Gerrard when I grew up. He was my absolute idol, and I used to see him doing last-ditch tackles and score winning goals, and Anfield at the rut when he scored like the last-minute winner. I always think of the goal against Olympiacos in the Champions League. Liverpool needed one more goal. Took it down on his chest and he hit it on the half volley across his body, and the technique was just unbelievable. And then that was it, straight upstairs, kit on in the garden, trying to relive that moment myself. And I just used to be obsessed with the game, and from such a young age, my mum would say I'd watch like games from like the 70s and the 80s. She'd come in from work and be like, Alex, what are you doing? Like, you don't even know who these players are. But I was just obsessed with it. And did I ever envision the game, women's game, would get there? No, but somewhere I'd used to dream, will that one day be us? Like, will I one day be able to get the crowd on their feet by something I've done? And I think that was probably just something I used to watch and go, that is going to be me one day, where I'm going to do that.
I want to ask you later on specifically about like how you've seen the Lionesses contribute to that and the growth of this women's game. But we're going to stick with Everton for a minute. You made your senior professional debut with Everton in 2010, and you played for a number of clubs in England until 2019 when you moved to France to play for Lyon, where you won the Champions League in 2020. For those unfamiliar or for newer fans who don't have that much context yet on Champions League, can you just explain to us a little bit about what it means to play in Champions League and what it means to win?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, playing in Europe's absolutely crucial for me, and I think a lot of players come here for that reason. To play on the European stage, you're playing against the best teams in Europe, and to win the Champions League again, like I said, I grew up Istanbul. I don't know if you ever remember that, Sam and Liverpool went 3-0 down at half-time at AC Milan in Istanbul, and they come back and won the Champions League. Again, when I lifted the Champions League, I was like, I've done what my idols have done.
Oh,
like
wow.
that feeling for me is just, you can't replace it, and it becomes addictive. When you win, it's addictive, right? You want that feeling over and over and over again. And winning the Champions League was obviously incredible. I think my feeling was I'd love to do this with a team in England, at home, on home soil, and do it there. But make no mistake, that day when it happened, it was like a dream come true.
Did you go to Lyon, do you think, with that in mind, knowing that Lyon was a club that could possibly be a contender to win Champions League?
Absolutely. I've always said I make decisions based on football, and there's never been another motive for me to sign for the club, not to annoy anyone, financially, nothing. It was always to win. And I think I could have easily stayed at Manchester United when I was there. I was comfortable. I lived 10 minutes from the training ground, family 45 minutes away, partner at home, nice life. And I had no reason to leave. I was captain of the club. We were getting promoted to the WSL. And then obviously Lyon show interest. And honestly, like I did have a moment when I was like, is this the right thing to do? Do I want to go and live abroad in a place where I don't speak the language? The culture's completely different. And honestly, it was the best decision I ever made for more reasons than just winning trophies. I think, of course, that was always my intention. I wanted to compete for the Champions League. I wanted to win the league there and all the trophies that were available. But it changed me as a person in so many ways. I probably appreciated things a little bit differently. I got to learn a new way of living, culture. It made me probably be a bit more relaxed about things and enjoy the moment a little bit more, because I'm just like 24/7, like what's next? What can I win now? And if anything, because I didn't have family to go home to straight away, I enjoyed the moment. I was a bit more relaxed, and I appreciated now coming to England how hard it is when people sign here. When you come from abroad and people expect you just to be like, okay, you've landed, arrived, deliver. It's not as easy as that. And I probably have admiration for people who come from all different parts of the world to play in England, because I know how hard it is to settle in and find your feet, because it's harder than what people think.
Yeah, for sure. I feel very similarly about my time playing here. This was my big decision to go abroad and to kind of branch out of my comfort zone a little bit. I had a lot of success with my club in the NWSL, the Courage, and we had won a lot of championships. And I think that deciding to come here, to some people must have been like, why would you ever leave this club where you keep winning at? When I think back now in my career, especially considering my career got cut a little bit short, I am so glad that I came here. We won the FA Cup. I made friends from England, from all over the world, who now when I see you guys, I'm just so grateful for this time and for what I learned being a part of the football and culture that's here. You came after Lyon, you came back, you joined City, where you've been ever since. When you were deciding to then return to Manchester, what were some of the things that drew you to City? Like, obviously there are incredible facilities. It's such a globally recognized club, but what made you say, like, City's going to be the right place for me?
I think for me, at the time, it was the style of football. I think the way they play, the way we play, the way they played at the time, the way we play. Of course, the other things that come with it, for sure, the facilities and the club itself, the brand itself speaks for itself. It's incredible. I think at that point, I had to make a decision. Do I leave, at that time, the best club in the world in the women's game, and go home, basically come back home and sign for City, or do I stay? And I think obviously another thing was I'd won what I had achieved, I'd set out to achieve. I'd achieved what I wanted to. I'd grown as a person. I'd experienced things I didn't think I'd ever experienced. Again, I made friends for life there who speak French. Tell me how that works, I don't know, but it works. And I think the opportunity to sign for this club is just something that doesn't come around often. And I think it's an opportunity I couldn't let go. And again, you know, I've said this a few times on this podcast, but it's definitely the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah. Well, okay, I joined City around the same time. Like I said, in that season, we won the FA Cup, a 3-1 win over Everton at Wembley. The FA Cup is such an iconic trophy here in England, and you assisted me for the opening goal at the final. You whipped in a very signature Alex Greenwood corner that I headed home. What are your memories from that game, and what did it mean to you to win the FA Cup here?
Oh, I loved that day. I loved everything about it. You know what? I think with you, Sam, you're so good in the air. For me, people can say, oh, the delivery and that, but put it in an area and I knew you were going to be there. I just knew you were going to be there. And you probably don't speak about it enough, but when you were here, there's times you single-handedly won us games. Like you were so good I absolutely loved playing with you and Rose. And that game was just brilliant, wasn't it? When we won, we had some great celebrations after, and we had some fun, and probably things that we can't say on the podcast, but we had a laugh. And again, like you said, winning the FA Cup, that was the first time I'd won the FA Cup. I'd had about 4 goes at it, unsuccessful. So, of course, we'd have loved fans to have been there with me, because that was probably the downside of that day a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, amazing, and you know, never in doubt that we were going to win. We were good on the day. Yeah. We went extra time, didn't we?
We did. And then we ended up winning 3-1.
3-1.
Jess Park scored and Georgia scored. No, Janine scored.
Janine scored, yeah.
I know. We had a little celebration in the hotel, in a little function room. We had a few beers. It was great. Incredible. It was really fun.
It was.
Okay, so your City team now this season has been building to what feels like a really special year. City haven't won the league title since 2016. So can you talk to me a little bit about this team, the players you have here now, what makes this group so special? Yeah,
for many reasons, this group's special. I think the togetherness in the groups is amazing. I think when you walk in the building, you see us together. It's genuine. It's a genuine like connection between the team, and that's on and off the pitch. And I think when you've got a good group off the pitch, it tends to emulate on the pitch. And you know, we're a really honest group of girls. We're honest with each other in good times, in bad times, and I think that's important in football. I think if you can say things that are sometimes uncomfortable in situations, I think you get the best out of each other because there's a lot of trust there. But this group's been together now, I think, 2 years, so maybe a little over, and we've had a lot of ins and outs in the time I've been here, and a lot of people have come and gone, and for whatever circumstances and reasons that is. But this group's stayed together for a longer than a year, and it's been 2 years now, and it feels like we've connected really well. And I think you can see that on the pitch. You know, we have solutions for different problems that we face, and we look really comfortable. We're very much aware of the team that we're going up against and the team behind us in Arsenal who are chasing us. So we're very focused game by game. We don't really look too far ahead, and it's important in football to do that.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about England and the Lionesses. You made your first World Cup roster in 2015, in which England came in 3rd. You were the youngest player on the roster. What do you remember about that tournament, and what were some lessons that you took with you, maybe being a younger player, coming in 3rd, like moving into the rest of your career? What did you take with you from that?
I was like, wow, does this happen all the time? Finish 3rd all the time? This is great. I'm going to come back. Because I think we definitely overachieved that tournament for sure. And I say that now with the utmost respect. I think, obviously, I didn't mean we go there with any intention of not winning, but I think we knew the challenge ahead, and we knew what we were going to face. And to finish 3rd in your first major tournament for me was like, okay, this is exciting. Like, where can we take this? You know, we had players in the squad who were probably kind of coming to the end of their England career, and the players coming through were exciting. We knew we were going to build on that. So for me, it was the most incredible experience going to Canada. Obviously, I was away from home. I was young. The girls were absolutely incredible with me. They looked after me. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. Don't get me wrong, it was being halfway around the world from your family was hard at times. But again, another lesson, grow up. This is what it takes to succeed. And that moment again, when you have that little taste of success, you're like, oh, I want to do that all over again.
And honestly, it sounds like the way you're saying the girls took care of you in that moment when you were the youngest one, I see that in you now all the time. Like, even when I was new here, you'd always be getting with younger players and helping them along. And I feel like it's so clear that you were treated well in those moments, and that taught you how to get the best out of your teammates, which I love. You made the World Cup team again in 2019. But then after that, the next big tournament was the pandemic-delayed Tokyo Olympics in 2021. Team Great Britain sent a team, but you unfortunately didn't make the roster. I didn't make an Olympics roster either in 2016. I went as an alternate, but I just remember this like really sharp disappointment at being so close and like just missing the cut. How did you handle that as a setback?
I got an email. I woke up to an email, so we knew we were going to get told that morning. Honestly, this sounds really bad. I didn't lose sleep that night. I was quietly confident I was going. I'd had a really successful season here. I played really well. And not in an arrogant way at all. I don't ever change how I approach any situation. I prepare for everything the same. Whether I'm playing, I'm not. I'm going to a tournament, I'm not. But in this moment, I wasn't like, I was like, oh, is it touch and go? Like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I felt really confident that I was going to go. And obviously I woke up, I read the email, and I almost, this sounds crazy, I almost put the phone down and was like, are you awake or are you not? Like, have I dreamt this, or is this an absolute nightmare, or am I actually genuinely awake? And again, I speak about loads of moments in my career where it shapes you as a person and as a player, but that was one of them moments where it was like a real dagger to the heart. Like, it was, you can't, I don't know how you felt, but I was like, what happens after this? Like, where does my career go from here? Like, you actually genuinely feel like it's the end of your career and you're not going to get past it, and you're not the same player you thought you was, and you doubt yourself massively. And I went through all them emotions for sure. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. Maybe I've done something wrong. I was replaying moments over and over in my head, and I am someone who likes overthinks a lot of things. When I love watching football back, I enjoy watching the game back, and I'm like, I need to watch that training session back and this back, and what have I done, where have I said, what have I said? And I think the unanswered questions were playing on my mind a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, now, like, roll the years forward, it was a great lesson for me to know how to approach them moments if it was to happen again, to help someone if it happens to them. Absolutely. And to be honest, Sam, I think I got a summer of being a normal human, which we don't often get in our lives. You know, when we go season after season after season, and it's relentless, and can be really overwhelming at times, mentally and physically. I got maybe 6-7 weeks off, and I was like, wow, like, what do I do? Like, this is so unnormal for me to have this amount of time. And I got an opportunity to spend loads of time with family. I got to go on holiday for not a set date. I could stay till I wanted to. I didn't book a flight back. And actually I got to work on things about me as a person and me as an athlete that I don't often get the chance to do. I got fitter, sharper, worked on my game in different aspects because I wasn't worried about injury or stuff like that. So in a weird way, kind of thankful it happened. But obviously, like, would have loved to have gone. But bigger picture and stuff.
For sure. Well, bigger picture, we're going to fast forward now to 2022. The Euros that took place here in England, your Lionesses won at home in front of a sold-out home crowd at Wembley Stadium. The first time an England team, men or women, had won a major tournament since 1966. 87,000 people in the crowd. You came on in the 88th minute. The score was 1-1. What was going through your mind? Like, the occasion just must have felt so big. How did it feel to sub on?
I can't even remember the moment. It's crazy.
Just
like a blur. Like, me and Jill were coming on together. And I actually had the moment to think, this actually might be Jill's last game that she ever plays for England, right? And I was like, oh my God, like, but do you know what, again? I knew we were going to win. I knew we were going to win. And the whole tournament was kind of like falling into place, like, quite nicely. We were scoring in moments we needed to. We had our fans behind us. I mean, like you said, 87,000 at Wembley against Germany. It was just written in the stars, really, wasn't it? Chloe goes and does what she does. Chloe whips her top off. And I think it was honestly probably the best moment of my career so far. It was just incredible. Your family are in the crowd. The moment when the final whistle went, I've never, you know, when you just become numb with emotion, like, you don't actually do a run, do a fall to the floor, do a cry. What do I actually do? Right, do I stand here and just, like, laugh that this actually just happened? Or surreal moment, but absolutely incredible.
I know. When you said you knew you were going to win, that takes me back, and sorry to bring up 2019. We played you guys in the semifinal. And then as we kind of got ready for the final at the World Cup in 2019, I remember just this feeling of, like, pure, like, inevitability that we were going to win. I couldn't imagine a world that we didn't win. And it just seemed like there was no possibility for things to go wrong in that moment. Like, it was almost funny. And then to just kind of see everything happen the way it did, when you said your family's in the stands, like, those are the moments that really stand out to you. Do you remember Chloe's goal? Like, do you remember where you were, what you were doing, how you experienced the moment? I had Lucy Bronze and Jill Scott on, and I've asked them both this question. Like, how did you experience the moment?
So for me, there was a corner on the left. And Hempo hates taking corners, right? But she was the only left-footed on the pitch at the time before I come in. So she was taking the left side corners. So I've come on, and the corner got given, and she's looked at me and gone, go take the corner. And I said, no, you were on the corners. I said, come on, you got it, like, go and take it. And she was like, no, you take the corner. I said, Kempo, get out and take the corner. I said, you go on, take the corner. So I kind of like, I'm sure I was just on the edge of the box. Like, if anything falls down, put it back in or whatever, take care of things, keep it tight, whatever. And then obviously the ball comes in, we challenge for one, it drops, looked like a bit of a scuffle, like a foul or whatever. Chloe gets a toe, it goes in, and then off she goes. And I don't even know where I ran. I could not tell you who I ran to, what I did. I couldn't even begin to tell you what I did.
I know. Again, to just bring this back, the only moment I can compare this to is the World Cup final when Rose Lavelle scored.
Yeah.
And it put us up 2-0. So it was kind of like, okay, we're going to win. And I didn't even celebrate with the team. I couldn't. I was so numb. I stood at the top of the box like this. And Julie Ertz had to come up next to me and be like, are you like okay? Can you keep playing? Like, did something happen? And I just, it was like shock.
You can't explain to people, can you?
Out.
It's literally like, what do I do? Like, you become numb.
I know.
It's crazy. But
I know.
What would you give for that moment though again? Like, it's
anything.
Like anything.
I know, anything. Okay, so you guys win the Euro, like, incredible. I want to ask you a little bit about how you've seen football in England grow from that moment in the Euros. Like, did it feel like the rise and everybody's excitement around the game was growing as the tournament went on? And what have you seen since? Like, how has things changed?
Oh, in every single way. I think, yeah, definitely we could, as the tournament was going on, obviously we were gaining momentum. And I do believe a massive reason why we won was our crowd, our home fans and the support behind us. And that feeling, walking out thinking, you feel like you got 12 players on the pitch because that extra motivation and, in a moment where you think, this is tough, the crowd just, it lifts you. And I know people think sometimes that's just a saying, you're the 12th man and all that, but it's genuine. Like, you can actually feel it in the game. But as soon as obviously we won, life changed completely, I think, for everyone in every way. And for the nation itself, we obviously wrote a letter to the government to change things in school and opportunities for girls, which was something we were really passionate about. And thankfully it got accepted and a lot has changed in that aspect. But in terms of like the crowds we get now, week in, week out, game in, game out for the Lionesses, it's that in itself speaks for itself. But I think it's also like change people's maybe opinion on women's football in this country. And we are a very football dominated country. Like you said earlier, people work all week for their game at the weekend. And it's going to be really hard to change everyone's opinion. And I think that's something that we're definitely doing. It's going to take a lot longer than when I'm ever playing and so on and so forth. But it is the narrative's changing. And we've had to work so hard to do that.
Yeah.
Because, Sam, it's not just as easy as, turning up and getting the same as the boys. It's not the same. It's treated differently, and it was treated differently. I think it's so much more accepted now. And I actually, when I do things socially, I actually get a lot more men and boys who speak to me about the game.
Yeah. Because
with girls, it's like an expected conversation. It's comfortable. But I've noticed a lot more with men that, you Lionesses, what you did in 22, and yeah, you're great. And around Manchester, the derby the other day, a lot of people saying about the derby the other day, and it's a bit more normalised now, and I think that's still got a long way to go for sure, but we're definitely heading in the right direction. Yeah, how do you feel having been a part of that? Is that clear to you now that will be you and your generation's legacy, that you guys did this really monumental thing for women's football in this country and you'll look back on that? How does that make you feel? I almost feel like it's bigger than winning the trophy. That for me was way bigger than that, because what we did and what we've done for the girls in this country now and their opportunities is limitless. I think they get to go and play football in school without thinking, can I, can't I? They have opportunities to play football every weekend if they choose to, and feel comfortable doing that without being judged. Yeah, that's amazing. I think it wasn't really until I retired that I ever even thought about legacy. And I think for you all to have
it might not hit you right away. It sounds like you obviously understand the magnitude, but I think as you get even more and more time away from it, to imagine that you and your team had that kind of impact on the country and the world, and for not just young girls, but everybody who experiences football in this way, I think it's like so amazing. And I was really happy for you guys when you won. Okay, I have a little fun game for us. We mentioned up top that you're from Liverpool, born and bred Scouser. Did I say that well?
Perfect.
Scouser. Okay, so the game is So You Think You Know Scouse. I am going to say a Scouse saying that I don't know what it means. My producer looked it up,
I do.
listed it here for us. And then I want you to use it in a sentence if I need help. And I'm just going to try to guess what they mean.
Okay.
You think that sounds good?
Sounds good. It's going to be interesting if I don't know these, isn't it?
Chaka.
Oh, me head's chocker. Like, got a lot going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, I say that a lot.
Oh, you do say that a lot.
Like, Sam say, like, I've got a busy week, and I'm like, oh, me head's chocker.
See, it's for everybody at home. That's CHOCKA. My head's chocker, like chock full of thoughts.
Yeah, lot going on.
I don't know if it's the same. That's how I'm gonna remember.
Yeah,
it,
that is. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you another one. If you know it, try to use it in a sentence. Let me guess what it means.
Okay.
Scran.
What are you doing after this, Sam?
Scran.
No. Answer me question. What are you doing after this podcast? Got any plans?
Yeah, let's say I'm gonna go get a coffee.
Do you want to go and get a scran?
Oh, is it a coffee?
No, food.
Oh, it's food, like a meal.
Should we have a scran?
Should we have a scran?
Me and you, yeah.
All right. Okay, what about bosta?
Bosta?
Bosta.
Bosta. Oh, you heard me say that a lot. That's bosta. That's good.
Like it's cool.
Yeah, that's boss.
Oh, but you just say it like, that's bosta.
Oh, that's bosta.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, that's boss.
All right. I'm gonna try to use that one.
Like I could go, oh, your jumper, that's bosta.
Oh yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.
Your outfit's bosta.
Appreciate that. Okay, what about Oh, I know clobber.
Clobber.
Like you get clobbered on the field. No. Well, okay, well, you give me a new sentence.
Like your clobber that you wear is good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, good clobber. Yeah, good outfit, good gear. Clobber.
All right. Well, see, I would just say you get clobbered. You get absolutely clobbered. All right, what about bevied?
Bevied. What do we do after the FA Cup final?
We got bevied.
There you go.
Bevied. All right. Okay, last one. Got a cob on.
Oh, I've got a cob on. Like, I'm in a mood. Got a cob on with you. Like,
oh, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a cob on.
I've got a bad cob on today, yeah. You do me, I didn't. Yeah.
So interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, the game was super interesting. It was very fun to hear, and to, especially with the getting clobbered on the field. That was probably a highlight. Al, you were one of my favorite teammates here at City. Seriously, I always thought that you were so welcoming to every single person, like no matter what kind of reputation they came in with. And you took it upon yourself to keep the standards really high. You're always in the gym doing extra training, and you continue to lead your teams both here at City and with the Lionesses. I so enjoyed being your teammate and friend here in Manchester, going for coffees after training or having dinner at somebody's house. You helped make my time here so special, and I'm so glad that we could relive some of it today. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, Sam, thank you. It's lovely to see you.
I know you too. Thanks.
Thanks, Gil.
Oh my gosh, what a good interview with Alex. She seriously was one of my favorite teammates when I was at Man City. It was so great to catch up with her in person. Next week on the podcast, we have 16-year-old sensation Lily Johannes. Lily was just called into the U.S. women's national team during the She Believes Cup, but she's been playing for Ajax in the Netherlands this season. She's actually been living in the Netherlands since she was 10 years old. So I asked her who she rooted for in the 2019 World Cup final between the U.S. women's national team and the Netherlands. I'm not going to give away what she said. You will have to tune in next week to see. Make sure you're subscribed to our podcast feed. You can always rate and review this podcast after you listen, which really helps get this content out to more people who will enjoy it. And follow along with us on socials at Women's Game MIB on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Women's Game MIB and subscribe to our newsletter at the link tree in our social media bios and get the latest in women's soccer updates and updates from my life delivered to your inbox every Monday. I will be in New York/New Jersey this weekend to watch Lynn and Gotham take on the North Carolina Courage. And I'm trying to figure out how to cheer for all my friends at once. I have so many friends on Gotham and so many friends on the Courage. How many jerseys do I need to bring? What kind of writing should I put on my sign? I really don't know who to cheer for. But I'm very excited to be there and to watch the game. So I'll be back on Good Vibes on Tuesday with Becky to break down every second of my weekend. Thank you all so much for being here with us. We'll see you soon.